This call is from
Kiera Malone,
an inmate at a federal prison.
Hello?
Hey, Perry, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing just fine.
Perry Malone is an inmate at the Jessup Federal Correctional Institute. He committed drug-related, nonviolent crimes and received a life sentence at age 31 under the notorious 3 strikes law. His second strike was for possession of $10 of cocaine. He's been incarcerated for 21 years. Parole isn't possible for Perry because there's no such thing in the federal prison system. Can you talk about what it's like to have a sentence of life without parole?
I have to come to grips that on paper, I'm never getting out of prison. I have yet to accept that reality. It has been very difficult. It has been.
Have you seen folks walk out of there who have committed violent crimes?
Many of times. And I'm not knocking that. But when you consider myself and others have not committed violent felonies, yet we've been locked up for decades away from our family. There is no justification for that reality. I'm just hoping that politicians will understand that.
Here's the thing. Some politicians actually have come to understand that these policies are problematic. And recently they decided to change the law that put Perry behind bars for life. Problem is, Perry isn't getting out anytime soon. And I couldn't quite wrap my head around why. And what should happen to people incarcerated under laws that no longer apply?
This is such an incredible moment.
Let's rewind to last year when Congress passed a criminal justice reform bill called the First Step Act. President Trump signed it into law and touted it as a monumental move. And it did make important changes.
We are a nation that believes in redemption.
It reformed some of the harsh sentencing policies stemming from the war on drugs and the 1994 Clinton crime bill, namely the 3 strikes law.
What that is saying is we're going to punish repeat drug offenders. Your 3rd drug felony is a mandatory life without parole sentence.
That's Brittany Barnett. She's a lawyer who fights on behalf of those sentenced to life without parole for drug offenses. Her website is full of people serving out this sentence. Here's Perry. Here's Farrell Scott, who's in on marijuana charges. John Knock, also marijuana, a legal substance now in many states and a multi-billion-dollar industry. A lot of politicians, including Clinton himself, have since lamented the effects of this law.
I signed a bill that made the problem worse.
The First Step Act tried to fix that by changing the sentencing policy going forward. But it stopped short right there. For a lot of your clients, it doesn't necessarily have an impact. Why is that?
Major sections of the First Step Act, as it relates to sentencing reform, were not made retroactive. We roughly estimate 40% of the life without parole populations for drugs are 3 strikes.
That are currently incarcerated.
That are currently set to die in federal prison under laws that are no longer in place.
Did you get calls from your clients after the First Step Act was passed?
Yes, so many calls. As this bill is being celebrated, I am taking calls to break the news to people that this law that would have freed them is not retroactive.
The calls were from people like Kiera. She's Perry's daughter. Kiera lives in Mobile, Alabama, but we caught up with her in Jessup, Georgia, when she took a trip here to visit her dad in prison. How are you feeling?
I'm really, really excited. I have a little bit of anxiety right now, but I'm really excited. I'm ready to just hug him.
So that car we're following up there, that's Kiara's car. She hasn't seen her dad in about 7 years. We can't actually go into the prison with them. We're not allowed on premises, but we're gonna hear from Kiara about her experience afterwards. It's too expensive for Kiera to make this trip often. Plus, it requires time off of work for her and her husband and school for her kids. We caught up with her after the visit at the home of Louis Goodwill, a family friend. Hey there. Hi, I'm Dasha. Great to meet you. Thank you for having us. You just saw your dad?
Yes.
For the first time in 7 years?
Yes.
Tell me about it.
Bittersweet because, you know, having to leave him again, so. But very exciting. Got to finally see the kids.
What's been the effect of his absence on you and your family?
You know, him just being absent from all of the milestones that I've actually reached in my life, him not being able to walk me down the aisle, you know, when I got married, it's been really tough.
Kiera, did you know anything about the First Step Act when it was announced? What did your dad say about the law?
He's just been saying for a really long time, like, keep your ears open for good news. There will be a law passing soon, and it's going to help me come home immediately. So when the law finally comes out and it doesn't apply to him.
Did he think that it was going to affect him?
He definitely did. He definitely had his hopes up. I think we all had our hopes up.
Perry Malone, he done been there, 21 years, and he's proven himself that he never got in trouble. And I feel like, why you put a law out there when it's not going to benefit those guys that really need the opportunity to get out?
Some are getting out, though. More than 1,000 people have walked free since the First Step Act was signed in December. But Perry isn't one of them. He's one of many who will remain in prison unless the law changes again. I wanted to get to the bottom of why.
The disconnect between policy and politics in this field is so great.
That's something I kept hearing from people who have been touched by this. The disconnect between those in Washington making these laws and those who experience them. Kevin Ring heads up an organization that tries to close that gap.
You'll have lawmakers concede that some of these policies are punitive, inhumane, unfair, but they don't want to risk their seats voting for reform.
We talked to an inmate in Georgia. When he heard the First Step Act was passed, he got really excited. He thought he was getting out. His family got excited. Everyone got their hopes up. And then they realized he's not eligible for release because it's not retroactive. Why is that?
I mean, I don't think there's a better answer than just political cowardice. The Congress should fix this and make every provision of the Fair Sentencing Act retroactive. That should happen tomorrow. It won't, but it should.
It could happen tomorrow, but that's not how politics usually works. Case in point, there's actually a provision of the First Step Act that is retroactive. It removes a sentencing disparity between crack and cocaine. An Obama-era law initially made that reform back in 2010, but that law was not retroactive. This law makes that law retroactive now, 8 years later. But none of this helps people like Perry. I know, it's impossible to follow. I wanted to talk to the people actually making these laws. So I sat down with Senator Dick Durbin. What was your role in getting the First Step Act passed?
I introduced the bill that got the conversation started. Senator Mike Lee, conservative Republican of Utah, and I introduced it. And when we finally took a year to work out our differences, we had a bill that we all supported, and that's when we were on the track to pass it.
We spoke to an inmate in Georgia who is one of many serving life without parole under the 3 strikes law. He learned that some of those key elements aren't retroactive. Why is that?
To make this bill bipartisan, we had to draw it in narrow terms. If it were too expansive, we would have lost people on the right. If it were too restrictive, we would have lost people on the left. The fact that anything was passed and signed, I think, is nothing short of a political miracle.
So there you have it. Seems like Kevin was right. It's about politics, and too often, the people get overlooked. Does it not strike you as kind of wrong that there are people serving life in prison under laws that we have said are wrong?
That's why we call it the First Step Act. It invites the next step.
So are you having those conversations?
We are.
As you
We're definitely having right now.
So when I give Perry Malone a call, that inmate in Georgia that I mentioned, what can I tell him you're doing?
Tell him I wish he would write to us. I'd like to see if this is a loophole or gap in the law that needs to be closed.
Perry has since written to Senator Durbin. He still has hope that his circumstances will change. And so does his daughter.
I just wish that someone in office could take a look at things from a different perspective.
Like the perspective of a man serving life in prison.
We have done more than our time for a nonviolent offense. So I'm just hopeful that our leaders would make that right decision.
This call is from a federal prison.
And that's all we ask. We just ask that they would do right by us.
Hey, NBC News viewers, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.